Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Hi.
My name is Markiplier.
It's good to see all of you. Welcome to the 5th day of Mobian month. Hope you're having a fantastic time. And today I am joined by one of the lead programmers and fellow VTuber, sonicjason225. Say hi.
Hi. 255, but we'll work on that.
255. Oh.
If I had a nickel for every time somebody's accidentally said 225 instead of 255,
Huh, it's weird.
I would be rich. Don't overthink it though. It's
Huh.
it's not that.
Huh. But I was right when I was writing the title. I was like, huh. I swear. Oh well. Either way, it's good to have you here. I hope you're having a fantastic day yourself.
I'm doing pretty good.
I
wish I got more sleep last night, but
yeah. Who doesn't? I appreciate you coming by on such short notice as well.
it's no problem.
In which case, I know you haven't been able to catch a lot of Mobian Month streams. However, I'll tell you how this is going to go down, so everybody else can know.
Okay.
I will actually be interviewing you. I will be asking you a series of questions about you, your time on Rush 3D, why you love Sonic the Hedgehog, that sort of stuff. And after that, I actually have a game that I'm going to be playing myself, Sonic Riders Regravitified. It's basically a souped up version of Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. I'll be doing the story for that, chatting with you, and then once we get that done, I will be doing Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, and it'll be an open lobby, so that way you'll be able to play, and anybody who's watching will be able to join us as well. So it's just gonna be
Sounds good.
gonna be a nice chill time. In which case, yeah, are you ready to go over there and have our nice talk show?
I am ready.
Alrighty, let's head on over, chat. All right. In which case, it's good. Like I said, it's good to have you. It's good. Thank you for coming on by. So
It's good
I
to
will
be here.
Thank you. I have a lot of fun talking to people. Even if I'm already acquainted with them, I have a nice time talking with them on, Mobian Month and having a nice, good time just chatting them up. In which case, I will actually ask you, please do us all a favor and introduce yourself.
Hi. My name is sonicjason225. You can call me Jason though. And I am a programmer, 3D artist, I want to say partial musician, but like that is like a very small
Hey, if
part
you do
that
it,
I'm only
it's
just
valid.
now. Yeah, fair point. And also, as you mentioned, fellow VTuber. I don't stream very often. I want to change that. I currently can't right now because one of my drives is all the way, like over an hour away from here, and also the place isn't open on weekends, so I've got to wait till Monday to get it back.
I see, but hey, man, Monday's not too far away. You'll be streaming in no time.
Yeah.
In which case, it's nice to have you, and it's nice to have you like working on stuff for Rust 3D. I love the project. I love the demo. I loved helping forge it in some way, shape, or form. And honestly, seeing everyone's hard work on it, even now, feels really, really good. I appreciate having you on the team.
Hey, we appreciate having you on as well. We haven't quite gotten to the stage where we're actually going to need writing yet, but like soon. So we will get to that point.
I
promise.
have full faith. I don't care how long it takes. I want to see Rush 3D become like a full-fledged thing. And if there's anything I can do, I can always just offer whatever advice and enhancement to the vision of the game that I possibly can. I'm just happy to be here. In which case, I will ask you this: how was your day?
My day has been pretty good so far.
Oh.
All things considered. I mean, I had work. I had work today,
Oh.
which did kind of suck. I won't lie, but then I came home, and I got to play Sonic Unleashed thanks to the Sonic Unleashed recompilation, which I cannot stress enough how much I have been waiting for something like that for so long. Seeing it drop, seeing it drop on the first, like it was. I don't even know how to describe how I felt that day.
Real quick. First off, Kevin, thank you so much for the sub with Prime. That means a lot to me. Thank you. I'll promise that I'll be using that for the whatever I possibly can to improve the channel. You will see it come back in spades. So thank you. And also continuing with what you were saying, Jason. I've been very excited. My friend was excited to play it yesterday. I've been excited playing it all in my downtime. All of my friends are playing it in their downtime, and it's a lovely time just playing that recompilation. And I'm so glad that it exists as well. In which case, I guess I'll ask you this next question. In case you were able to catch it last year or even now. So, what made you interested in joining me today for Mobian Month?
Well, the first thing, I just like joining people for stuff.
That's fair. Nothing wrong with that.
And the second thing, you're cool. You're cool, and I want to hang out with you more. Simple as that.
Thank you. Never be afraid to reach out to me. Honestly, really talented and really cool person.
Hey, I did gift you Titanfall that one time. So after Mobian Month is done, like
you will see me play Titanfall.
Once you get through that campaign, like let me know. I'll hop in a team with you.
Again, thank you for that, and I promise that once Mobian Month is done, I will find someday either on stream or off stream if I have to. I will be playing Titanfall, and I appreciate the gift.
It's no problem, and I do this for literally everybody I know once Titanfall goes on sale, because it goes on sale for like $3, and I'm just like, oh, Titanfall 2 sale? It's sugar daddy time.
I see why. Hey, I love when my friends go and like show me and gift me a game that they're very passionate about. It's very nice gesture. In which case, I'll ask you this. So, how did you discover Sonic the Hedgehog?
Okay, so I saw the games in passing whenever I was a wee little child. Before Sonic, though, I will admit, my favorite character used to be Luigi. He's still up there, by the way. Luigi's the fucking GOAT, and I will not tolerate any disrespect towards him.
Fair.
But then one day, I ended up getting Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games for the DS.
Ooh, great title. One of my favorites.
that was my first introduction to, and that was my first hands-on experience with a Sonic game, even if it was a spin-off. And I remember vividly, one day, I was reading through the character bios, and I saw on there for Sonic the Hedgehog that he is the fastest thing alive. And for whatever reason, that line stuck with me, and I was like, okay, yeah, he's my favorite character now. I don't know why. I just was really attached to the speed, but I will forever cherish that moment, because that single moment right there led me to discovering some of the greatest games that I have ever played.
And that's a wonderful introduction. Doesn't matter if it's a spin-off title, a main series title, Sonic reaches you in any way that you can imagine.
Exactly.
So, in which case, I'll ask you this then. Why do you like Sonic the Hedgehog?
How can I put this into words? He's fast. He's blue. He's cool. It triggers all of my autism with those 3 traits alone.
You know, very, very valid. Very, very valid.
But also, in terms of gameplay, the gameplay is usually like really, really engaging. Even on some of the titles that people consider to be bad, like I will still forever stand by the fact that Sonic 4 episodes 1 and 2 are actually kind of good in my opinion. I'm not gonna say they're like the greatest ever, because like obviously that's just lying to myself. That title obviously goes to Unleashed, but yeah, even those games which people consider to be bad, I feel are enjoyable in their own way.
Right. Hey,
I can't say the same for some games though, unfortunately. Like 06, obviously, like the original release for 06, I still remember how stiff that spin dash was.
Hey, it's perfectly fine. I would say one of the best things about Sonic the Hedgehog and the games that come following it is they all have something redeemable about it. Even if they're not perfect, there's some fantastic things about the series. So you don't have to like every aspect about it, but there's still something that you can enjoy, no matter if it's a good title or a bad title.
Who knows? Maybe I'll actually play Forces one day and end up really liking it.
And if you don't like Forces on its own, there's a lot of fan content that goes with it and mods and stuff like that the community has made that you might be able to enhance the feeling. So maybe you can find some sort of enjoyment with it. You know.
Fair point. Fair point.
That said, can you? It can be in like a list of like females or males or just a top 3, whatever you want. But can you please name me your top 3 favorite Sonic characters?
Oh, that's easy. Sonic, Shadow, Blaze.
Really? Can you go in as to why?
Sonic is kind of. I'm sorry. I'm bad with words.
It's okay. Take your time.
But Sonic is just it's hard to describe. In the games, he's just like this wonderful beacon of hope that you just get to control, and he's just so cool, and you feel cool playing as him. But even in the movies, where some of that cool factor is gone due to him being far less experienced, he still kind of has this nice charm factor to him. Like, even in the, like, I see a lot of people complain about him in the movies because, you know, Sonic is a flat character. He's not supposed to go through any arcs or anything. But, like, I mean, one, if he didn't go through any arcs, the movies wouldn't be nearly as enjoyable. But, like, two, even him growing up and actually going through these arcs, he still has that character we all know and love that shines through every now and then. Like, it, for example, in Sonic 3, there's the London scene, which is just like bursting with Sonic's attitude and stuff. But then we go on to Shadow. Why Shadow is like in the top 3 there.
Mm-hmm.
Shadow is, in my opinion, just as cool as Sonic, but for completely different reasons. Right? I mean, this dude is like, he's not like Sonic. He's not going through life with a smile on his face. He's more of like a tragic character, and that, like, he's a character that shows like true tragedy can be shown in games that even are targeted towards kids, and shown in such a grounded and realistic feeling way that just, I don't know, I just don't see with a lot of franchise. I mean, the way that he's dealt with his PTSD through the game, you kind of just feel how he deals with all of this in all the games that he shows up in.
Yeah.
Even in some of the bad ones, like '06 may have been terrible gameplay wise, but they got his character good in that game.
Right. Ooh. Real quick, let me go reply to this. Hello, Chief. Just wanted to stop by for work. Got more busy to say have fun. Stream. Everybody have fun as well. Big love to you. Big love to you too, IC. Thank you for stopping on by. Good luck at work, and I will see you after stream, alright? You take it easy. I appreciate you, Doug. With that said, that was that's a good synopsis of Shadow, honestly. Even you're good with words. It's fine. And that's a very valid and good reason to love Shadow the Hedgehog. He's a very deep and complex character, and if he hits with you, then that's fantastic. So with that said, you said that Blaze was also there as well. Why'd you like her?
Simple. I mean, well, okay, it's not really simple, but like she's kind of a character that is like insecure about asking for help. That seems like someone who just kind of take on all the responsibility head on, and she's kind of in a way relatable, I guess, because I know for a fact that I've had a hard time asking for help for a lot of shit, and I mean a lot of that is for reasons that I probably shouldn't get into on here, but like you get what I mean, right?
Right. Oh, hello, Cartyosh. It's good to see you. Welcome. It's wonderful to see you. Hope you have a good time here. And yeah, I absolutely understand.
With Shadow and Blaze, I kind of like them for similar reasons. Like they both deal with something kind of personal and deep, and they're just done so in a way that I don't really see a whole lot of other franchises do, and I just really like them for that.
Mm-hmm. That's a very, very wonderful wonderful synopsis. I love Blaze. She's definitely one of my favorite characters as well, just because of all the things that she goes through and Rush and progressively goes through. She's always herself. She's always feeling this feeling of responsibility and wanting to just be there for her people, and even the people that she considers to be her people, because once she goes over to her world, her dimension, and even through Sonic, she considers Sonic and Tails and everyone of her friends over there to be her people now, and wants to protect them just as strongly. So I love Blaze.
And what's awesome is that after she goes through that arc in Rush Adventure, you kind of see the payoff of that arc with how she's like fully willing to like let Sonic help out with the whole mess that's going on over there, especially with like Sonic being sent over to her world and everything. And she's just like, all right, I learned my lesson. I'm gonna need your help with this, because I mean, especially with Marine there, like she definitely needed the help.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. And honestly, everything that she's gone through all makes me feel like very valid in what the stuff that I go through in my life, and I'm glad that her character really exists. With that said, I'll ask you another question. What is your favorite Sonic game?
Unleashed, hands down, no questions asked. It's Unleashed.
Wonderful. Can you give me a few reasons why?
The gameplay, and I mean this for both daytime and nighttime stages, is fantastic. The story is also fantastic. The side content is so rich with their own stories and gameplay that it's not even funny. Like it in terms of side content, Sonic Unleashed is unrivaled compared to any other Sonic game. And Well, also the music is just phenomenal, but
It's par for
and
the
kind of
course.
going more in depth on this stuff, like
Hmm.
I mean,
You're all good.
the story opens up with some of the with hands down one of the coolest cinematics in, I'd say, gaming history,
Yeah, I know.
which
I fully
just
agree.
shows Sonic being like this absolute badass against Eggman, only for Eggman to just get the upper hand at the end due to a last minute slip up.
No, I get
And
it.
seeing that transformation with and the Chaos Emeralds falling down, it starts off somewhat light. It also kind of starts off somewhat lighthearted, minus the fact that the world is literally broken apart and a lot of people should probably be dead by now.
Yeah, no. It
But like
definitely has.
ignoring all of that and the implications of that, it starts off kind of lighthearted. Like, oh no, Eggman has done something evil, and now Sonic can just crash lands back onto Earth, and comedically, thinks he hit Chip while falling down. But then, as the story goes on, it goes from like, oh, this is going to be an adventure that's going to take us across the world, hence the name Sonic World Adventure in other countries. But then, as it sort of goes on, things get a bit deeper and deeper, especially with Chip, and also Sonic getting somewhat insecure whenever Amy doesn't recognize him. Ironically,
No, I get it. It's very interesting characterization of the character, and the game does a lot of respect to real world locations, not just in the music, but in the details of each location that you go into. Like it's Begonia, like especially when it's at nighttime, hearing the people that are actually there, seeing the location, seeing the tons of small little details in each place. It's wonderful.
yeah, exactly. There's like the hub worlds are small, but there's so much detail packed into it. Like, for example, in Spagonia, since you brought it up, there's actually a little spot, like, that little area where you can get on top of like one of the roofs that have tables on them and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, one of them, if you go up to one of the walls, you can actually hear
The Sonic Unleashed like theme, someone's whistling it.
no, you can actually hear a football game going on.
Oh,
And I
really?
mean and I mean football for other countries, not our football.
Right. But that's the type of thing that I love because it's such a
But
small
also,
detail.
yeah, also the details don't just lie within like the environment and stuff. It also lies within the NPCs, because much like Sonic Adventure, the NPCs also sort of have their own storylines going on. Like there's this kid in Spagonia, going back to this, who who is kind of like this massive brat when you first meet him. But then as the game goes on, you talk to him more, and then you find out, oh, dude's actually kind of lonely because his dad is just gone.
Right.
But then as the game goes on, like that, you find out that his dad was somewhere in Apatos and had just straight up lost his memory at some point. But
All
then over
right.
the course of the game, he slowly ends up gaining it back, and eventually he ends up reuniting with the kid in a very sweet moment that you only really get to see if you actually stop and pay attention to the NPCs.
And that's a wonderful detail because when it comes to Sonic, stopping to go and like look at small things isn't really something you think that you want to do because it's
Yeah.
usually, and that's something that a lot of Sonic games do now. is that you're always pushing forward to like do all that stuff. You're just pushing forward to like go through the game and to get collectibles and all that other stuff. But there's not really a lot of things to stop for. Now, in something like Sonic X Shadow Generations, they're starting to do that a little bit more in the form of, collecting chows and stuff like that. And even if you go over to Shadow's side, with the little tiny NPCs like Maria, like the grandfather, like Omega, like Big, like Rouge, there's a reason for you to stop and to listen to them. And if you go back all the way to Frontiers, if you go fishing of all things, you're able to go and find Eggman's logs, which honestly, in my opinion, are one of the most interesting pieces of lore that we've gotten in a long, long time when it comes to Sonic. I actually enjoyed fishing to go get these things, and I wish they would do that more.
Same here. I'm fully with you on the Eggman logs thing. That was a really interesting detail. Although, yeah, going back to my point from earlier, like the interesting thing about the NPC storylines in the game is also the other something that did briefly get mentioned whenever I was bringing up that Spagonia example. The NPCs don't just stay in a single hub area. They move around to different hubs. In fact, one mission that sticks out to me in particular is at some point there's this girl who's from Shamar who ends up in Autobot.
Right.
And she ends up lost there due to the Dark Gaia corruption. So once you clear that from her, she's like, how did I get here? And that ends up starting a side quest where you have to try and find her in different locations based on what she's trying to identify her home country with. She has a horrible sense of direction, though. So she goes from Autobot to Missouri to Alaska to Empire City to I don't remember the exact order, but she ends up going all over the place before ending in Autobot, where she kind of just gives up and realizes she's been kind of missing out on a lot of the world.
Yeah.
By just staying in her home country the entire time. And it's just kind of taking in the sights and everything.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing because in Sonic games, like I said before, you don't really stop to do anything and like learn about these people that's within the world. It enriches the entire game because it actually makes it feels like that people are in the game. There are people. It's inhabited by other people and things and stuff for you to learn.
Exactly. It makes the NPCs feel a little bit more alive.
Real quick, Sanku. With recomp games like with Shadows and all the 360 games can now be on PC, which is insane. I wonder if OG Xbox games can be native since OG Xbox can be played with 360s. Perhaps, honestly, with this just doing this for Unleashed, a lot of doors have opened.
Can I correct him on that comment real quick? In fact, Let me actually open up your stream so I can read the comment myself.
Sure.
There we go. And okay, so about the recomp. Okay, so the thing with the recomp is that it's taking what is basically an executable that can be read on an Xbox 360 and then just recompiling that into instructions that could be read on modern PC architecture. What this guy seems to assume, unfortunately, and I'm not blaming him for this. Like, if you had no idea how this stuff works, I wouldn't blame you for thinking this. Is that, because we can get Xbox 360 games running like this, like, oh, we could probably get Xbox games running like this as well, because Xbox games were backwards compatible on the Xbox 360, but that's not entirely how that works. That was done via emulation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I would say at least not now. We wouldn't be able to do it now.
maybe in the future, but it also depends, because like the original Xbox has completely different CPU architecture than modern day CPUs do.
Yeah. I will say though, if we are able to do this, then I think someday we're totally able to do that. Someday. Absolutely.
Maybe, but I don't think it's going to be entirely necessary, since OG Xbox emulation actually seems to be making pretty good strides, and we could probably just be good with just simply emulating the thing. The only reason why compatibility layers and recompilations are getting popular with Xbox 360 and PlayStation 4 and or not PlayStation 4, Xbox 360 and Xbox One games is because of inherent limitations whenever it comes to actually making an emulator for those consoles, which is
Right.
why the recomp actually ended up being somewhat viable in comparison to just emulating it.
Right. Also, before I continue, hello Boktai, it's good to see you. I'm having a fantastic day. I'm having a good time with the talking that I'm doing and the interview and everything, and I hope you're having a good time yourself. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I hope that you have a good time just chilling out here. That said, I guess I'll ask you this next question. How has Sonic positively influenced your life and/or creativity?
That is hard to explain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I guess I would say that it positively. Can I skip this question, because it's really it?
I'm
I
sure it's
don't
like a
know. I
heavy
genuinely
question.
have no idea how to put this into words.
It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I'm sure it was a heavy question. Um,
Okay, I don't know how to put it into words, so I won't.
so I guess I can ask you this instead. What is a Sonic game that you've always wanted to see happen?
Hmm. It'd be too easy to say a sequel to Unleashed, but something in similar vein to what Unleashed. Actually, no. Something that I would love to see is the gameplay loop of Frontiers, but with the same sort of world building and world building dynamic that Unleashed had.
Interesting.
So like more populated NPC, more populated areas with NPCs that actually do something and have their own storylines as your game is going on, and even some of their own like side missions as well.
Right. I think that's great. I think that's a good idea. Honestly, I'm glad. And honestly, I think I can't wait for them to get to that level again, because honestly, I believe that Sega and Sonic Team, even though they've been in a bit of a slump for the past like few years with how they've been creating games, they're now on the up and up. They're now creating more games of quality when it comes to the Sonic franchise, and I think one day they will actually get there. With creative minds like Ian Flynn and everyone over there who are working on the Archie comics and the storylines for the games, I'm glad that they're able to do that. I'm glad at what they're creating, and I'm glad that they're getting more in depth with the characters themselves. So if they can do that with characters, and I fully believe they can do that with like side characters and little stories like that, I believe that they will be able to make something of the quality that Sonic Unleashed made, and maybe the dream would be to exceed it. because they've had
Give us a
yeah.
give us another T side quest. I'm begging you.
Just I want them to do better than, because Sonic Unleashed is an absolute masterpiece of the game. The dream would be to exceed themselves. So if that's the case, I will ask you this next question. What's something very positive that you can name about the Sonic community?
I'd definitely say it's creativity.
Yeah.
Whether it be its creativity in how they handle art, how they, and that includes all forms of art, like, you know, drawings, music, fan games, the art of calling people slurs on Twitter.
Oh no. But yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'd say is the community's strong point. Like they are creative in a way that I can't really describe.
Well, I can at least agree on that point. When it comes to creativity, whether it comes in the form of art, in terms of fan games, music, all that sort of stuff, I believe that the Sonic fandom are some of the strongest people on the internet. When they want something, they will create it themselves. And that's a very, very fantastic thing. Oh, also, hello, Goofball. It's good to see you. Welcome.
Hello, Goofball.
Let's see. So, I'll ask you this, right? What are your... Can you name your top 3 Sonic songs?
No, I cannot, because I have no idea how I'd be able to narrow that down. I have a hard time picking favorites, okay?
No, that's fine. There are a lot of fantastic tracks throughout the entire Sonic franchise, so I don't blame you if you wouldn't be able to answer that one. If that's the case, I'll ask you this: do you prefer 2D or 3D Sonic, and why?
I prefer 3D Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like being able to have depth. Well, sort of. I do like having the ability to have depth perception, but in terms of gameplay, I don't know. They get really creative whenever they go 3D.
Right. I can agree with that.
I can't really pinpoint any other reason.
Oh, 1 second. First off, Big Game Lancer, thank you so much for the sub. I love and appreciate you, dog. It really has been a year. Well, thank you for being on my channel for that long. I love and appreciate you, buddy. And I can't wait for us to go even farther. That said, just thank you so much. And enjoy your ad-free viewing and brand new emotes, buddy. Thank you. Thank you so much. That said, I when it comes to the argument of 2D versus 3D, Sonic Rush is one of my favorite games because it kind of bridges that gap. In the sense of it's a 2.5D game, and usually I do not like 2D games. I will say that the Sonic Rush series, the Sonic Advance series, and Mania have been very big outliers when it comes to 2D stuff. I'm more of a heavy like 3D game person, but I think it was the boost formula being added to these things that made me want to, just do that. Mania is a special case because obviously it doesn't have a boost formula, but the amount of love that went into the game, the sprites, the music, and everything, it had to be something that was up there. But besides that, 3D is definitely for me because I love the boost formula. I love what they were able to do with it. And honestly, people will keep going on to, they need to use momentum. They need to abandon the boost formula. They need to go to how Adventure was. And honestly, while I would like to see a game that goes to Adventure's roots, I'm not exactly ready to let them go or leave the boost formula because I still think there's more things that they can do with that. I would like to see them experiment with it like they did with Unleashed. I would like to see them continue to do good stuff because in Rush, it felt like the boost was earned. You had to be smart with your boost, and when you're not how do I explain this? When you're not boosting and you're not destroying enemies, you're doing tricks. When you're not doing tricks, you're on the ground boosting and like trying to map out the level in your head. You had so many things you had to take according to it while still having the boost. And while that is something that was in Rush and all the other games, I think as long as it's something that's earned and it's not turned into an automated thing, that boost still has a ton of like possible things in its future. And that's why I personally like 3D. However, the 2.5D and like those little areas where it is for the advanced series, that's why those are like the things that I love about it. So it's mainly 3D, but can go back for those things. With
Interesting.
Yeah, I love the advanced series and I love the Rush series. Though it's a really nice balance. It's a nice compromise. With that said, what is something that you would say that Sonic Team and Sega could improve on?
Working conditions. Okay. Okay. On a more serious answer, though, I hmm. I guess it would be. I guess it would be the. I guess it. I guess I'd have to say. Maybe start tweaking the physics of the games a little bit more. Like, I love Shadow Generations. Don't get me wrong, but compared to Unleashed and Generations,
Mm-hmm.
the game feels a little bit slower and a little bit more rigid, and it does feel a little bit off once you play the other games.
Right.
Though, actually, that does bring me to another point that I kind of wish they could improve upon.
Uh-huh.
Again, I love Shadow Generations, but like the environment design in Unleashed is unparalleled,
Right.
and I kind of want to see them try and top that.
Honestly, no, I agree. I the thing that I
Well,
love,
okay,
huh?
Frontiers actually had some pretty decent environments whenever it came to the islands, but I'm talking about for like in the actual stages, because like I won't lie, it does seem like it's been a little bit lacking since Colors.
I will say that literally yesterday when going back to Unleashed for a moment, my friend was able to like go through the game and sit down and like show me little details that went into the world, just little reactable things, little breakable objects, little things that just you could look out into the actual like levels, and like the amount of details and stuff that you could like see was incredible. Even if they weren't like the highest res texture or something, those little details that just showed love went into the game. Not just something that was necessary to make money or anything like that, but actual love, and even possibly the process of them having fun making the game. And that was just an Apodos. So honestly, I think if they had a lot of fun just making the game and it wasn't a isn't a like a desperate thing of, okay, we need to make money, and yes, we need to do a good job. But I think if they can show the fact that they love the series in the things that they make, and that they're actually fans of what they're creating, then I think that will push the series even further than it already is. Because obviously, yes, I want them to just do a good job, but I also want them to enjoy what they're doing.
Oh yeah. Kind of going back to the Unleashed thing, and like all the little detail stuff. Like even the second level you play in the game has just alone has so many little details, especially whenever you're collecting the medals in that stage. I remember one specific moon medal, which you kind of see right before you have to homing attack a bunch of I'm forgetting what the spinny guys are called. But those guys, there's literally a moon medal that you see right before you hit a pulley. You just have to walk down a flight of stairs for them.
Yeah.
Like it's just a flight of stairs off to the side. You just gotta walk down those real quick. Just stop for a moment. It's like it does kind of break the flow of the level. I won't lie. So it's not really the metal hunting is not really something that I would say is like great in that game. But it's still kind of funny that you could just stop and walk down a flight of stairs real quick just to grab something.
I will say that when it comes to the metal hunting and stuff, originally I was annoyed. Originally I was annoyed at the metal hunting. However, when you think of the perspective of, okay, if I wanted to, I could just ignore this and continue going as fast as I possibly can because it feels good. And I don't necessarily need every single medal to go through the game. Those, if we take that in the perspective of like a casual player not needing everything, then we don't even need to worry about the medal hunting for the most of the time, because most of the medals are in like the Warhawk stages anyway, where we're not moving that fast. The purpose of that is to like platform and fight and everything, and like take time to look around. But for the fast stages, it's like that's for people who want to like 100% the game. We don't need to do that if that's not within our like, prerogative.
Honestly, yeah, I do kind of agree. But like, I think the main reason why it did get kind of annoying in Unleashed, and this is like the one thing that I actually don't like about Unleashed, is mainly because the emblems are or the medals are required to actually play some of the stages. Why did I say emblems earlier? It doesn't matter. Anyways, yeah, I because like you can just go through the stage just only purpose. You can go through the game only purposefully collecting the medals in the night stages, the hub worlds, and the bosses. So those are the easiest ones to go through, especially the Werehog ones, since that side of the game actually has a slower paced, gameplay style. So it makes more sense there and doesn't feel out of place.
Mm-hmm.
But even that alone starts to like kind of fall flat a bit, specifically because of Autobot.
Right.
The Sun Medal requirement for Autobot Day is kind of insane. So like even if you are collecting a bunch of medals for your first try, or for your first playthrough, you are going to run into that barrier eventually, even if you think you're not. And that does get kind of annoying, I won't lie.
Of course. It's a big balance of it, and I'm glad that it's a choice. Because honestly, once you run through everything, once you do all the bosses, once you complete the game, you can do everything that you need to and go a straight run through to the end of the game, while casually picking up all the like big obvious emblems. But I like the choice. I like the choice that you can go and do this stuff for that extra content after you're done with the game. And obviously, if they made it in like better places that were more obvious, I think a lot of people's complaints would fall.
Yeah. That sort of system I believe, ended up turning into the Red Ring system. Like that sort of system is very similar. Like it's no longer required for anything in terms of like the base story progression. But in Colors, when they were introduced, they're required if you want to get Supersonic, because you need them to unlock all the Game Land stages and, unlock Supersonic.
Right.
And then in Lost World, they're also required for unlocking Supersonic there, because that's how you get all the emeralds there. Unless you're playing the 3DS version.
It's one of those things where if they were to add this, I'm don't get me wrong, I'm glad that the whole exchange for the extra content and stuff has been replaced with the red rings. And honestly, when it comes to red rings in like the current Sonic games, minus Frontiers and Shadow Generations, I'm glad that they kind of like switched it out to, okay, you will see this on your current routes, and you might even see it in the distance on another route. Just go back, play the game again, play this level again, and try to take a different route. And that way, it encourages exploration without being slow. Because the whole thing about Sonic games is you want to move fast, but you can still have both to just play again.
Exactly. And Generations actually does this in a couple of stages. I know in Sky Sanctuary Act 1, they kind of do this where they have like 3 red rings and you see all 3 of them at the end of this path, but depending on which path you go on, which path you end up going on determines which red ring you actually get. And
Right.
that depends on like how you even got there in the first place. That I find interesting.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like what they did back here and around these areas, and I like the fact that they find ways to make it not easy, but more. They give you more room. Um, but with that said, I will ask you another question. How do you feel about the current state of Sonic, i.e., the movies, the games, the comics? How do you feel about how they're doing right now?
I feel like they're doing pretty strong right now, especially with the last game, the movie, and we've also got Crossworlds coming out soon. That's gonna be hype.
Right.
I'd say they're doing pretty strong right now, and I'm interested to see where they're gonna be going from here.
Likewise. Likewise. Let's see if with that said, could you say something positive about the quality of the games within the recent years?
Something, hmm, like within all of them in general.
I'd say within the recent years, I'd say well, Crossroads is now yet. I'd say something along the lines of Sonic X Shadow Generations. Between Sonic X Shadow Generations and Frontiers. Something recent.
I'd say one of the positive things that they have going for them is that they're starting to break out of that fear of trying new things and improving upon, and they're actually starting to improve upon what they learned from those experiments. Like for example, with Frontiers, that game was just one giant experiment. We all know that.
Yes.
And then in Shadow Generations, we could see how they've improved some parts of it. Like for example, the hub world is sort of the same. Is sort of the same idea as the open zone, but they started taking some. They've started taking some feedback from it and actually making it a bit more dense, if that makes sense, and not as much. Like it's less open than the open zones, but it's more dense. And there's more stuff. There's seemingly more stuff to do. Well, okay, maybe not more stuff to do, but there's still a lot to do, and they're sort of improving upon that sort of gameplay loop.
Right. I'm glad. I really, really am because it's when it comes to them and like learning what to do. I'm excited because of the possibilities of what these mean. Because when it comes to me listening to the fact that Sonic Team is going to be given more money for like the projects in the games, when it comes to me finding out about and listening to interviews and stuff like this, it feels like it's leading up to like a bigger games. It feels like it can lead up to things that we've dreamed of, like Adventure 3, about like remakes and stuff like that. Because I'm seeing signs. The amount of control that we have currently in these games, like Shadow Generations and Frontiers, are the most amount of control that we've had for a Sonic character since Adventure. And what I mean by that is, yes, in stuff like Generations and stuff like Unleashed, yes, we've had control. We've had these open areas, but it's not the same. We're meant and built for speed in these games, but the control isn't like how it is in Frontiers, and I feel like once they find that good balance of something that feels good to control and but also feeling like speedy and like giving these characters different abilities and stuff, that we'll be able to have a new adventure game with something that Frontier started with. It was a test that could lead to that. There's a lot of potential.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
The other thing I'm starting to notice is that they're also being a lot more open about this sort of stuff. Like we all saw how Kishimoto was on Twitter after Frontiers release. Like he was pretty much willing to talk about anything with the game,
and that's good.
almost to a fault.
That's actually really good. And yes, while we're not gonna get
I like that sort of transparency. Like we're not going to get every single little detail. Like, oh, here's the UI of the engine behind closed doors. Like,
yeah,
here's what it looks like actually working on this stuff. Oh, yeah, no. Also, here's the source code for the game. Because fuck it, why not?
Yeah, no, we're not getting that stuff.
Nah, they're not id studio. They're not id software.
But at the same time, we're not. I like the transparency. I like the fact that they're not like hiding anything and like hyping everybody up just based off of like the Sonic brand name. They want people to be excited based off of the game itself. They're trying to sell the game based off of what the game is actually doing. They're not doing what like they did with Forces or anything like that. They're not like trying to say, okay, look at the people who made it. They worked on this awesome game. And look at like the people who are here, and look at this fantastic trailer that's just CGI and like basically a movie. We're not really showing you anything in the game. No, they're selling the game based off of itself, and if you like that, then hell, you'll like the game. I think we'll be fine. I genuinely think we'll be fine, and I think that with this transparency, yes, they're not gonna pull a Nintendo and like hide everything, or rather hide the biggest things. So one of the things that I was very disappointed with when it comes to Sonic 8 Shadow Generations is if they were to hide the fact that Mephiles was there, or like some of the big things in there and not show it in the trailers, that would have been some of the hypest shit ever. But the fact that they were transparent with it, it makes me feel good and bad. But if you weigh the options that they had, I'm more happy that they showed us something big to allow us to be more hyped about these things. And even though when you got to the actual part in the game, and it wasn't technically that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but it was big because we know who Mephiles is, I still think that was a fantastic choice. Because it's definitely more than they did with Frontiers when it comes to showing like Chaos or freaking Metal Sonic or something like that.
Not that important, my ass. Mephiles' character was done so well in Shadow Generations, and it actually had a really interesting plot point of him wanting to be restored to the timeline. Sorry, that was a little side tangent there. But like, go on.
Well, what I mean by not important, I mean like, of course it's important. It's Mephiles. We haven't seen him since 06, but what I mean important in the grand scheme of things is for like Shadow's story, because essentially Mephiles showed up, he said this stuff that is important to us as fans, he was defeated, and now he'll never be seen again. Also,
going off of the showing the bosses in the trailers thing, this might be a bit of a stretch, but I think that was kind of to parallel how Generations was advertised. Because Generations, whenever it was being advertised, just straight up showed the endings of the rival fights.
Yeah.
For some reason.
It was an interesting way of them doing that, but you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because in the end, it was all good. This was a very, very good Sonic title. It blew us. It didn't blow me out of the water. However, I had fun the entire time, and it was scratching that itch for like a fast-paced Sonic game with a story that honestly, okay, I know people got emotional about the story and everything, but I just thought it was okay. But honestly, all things considered, I would rather have an okay Sonic game than a bad one. Some people can be overly emotional about it. Some people can be very emotional about it, or like however positive feeling they feel about it, and that's wonderful. That's great. I might not feel super strongly about it, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I'm very happy for the people that felt something strong about it, and especially if they're fans of the character. I just want like a little more than that. And maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's because I'm not as affected by stuff like this as I used to be when I was a kid. However, that doesn't mean that I'm feeling negative about it. I can recognize when something is good, even though it didn't affect me as super strongly.
Interesting.
And I genuinely wish that a lot of Sonic fans and people in the community could realize that just because something didn't make you cry or like bawl your eyes out or anything like that doesn't mean it's bad.
I feel like fans need to have a bit more thought put into their criticism every now and then, especially whenever it comes to like fan made stuff, because like I won't lie, the fans are really, really biased towards fan made stuff, like to an unhealthy degree.
Yeah. Well, I understand why. It still sucks, but it's mainly because, well, when Sega and Sonic Team are not, speaking, when they're not opening their mouths and being transparent to like everybody, it leaves a lot of mystery. It leaves us with the stuff that we have now. A mode of, okay, fuck it, I'll do it myself. And it hurts. It hurts because I want to be able to, obviously they're a company. They're a company, they have to be professional, they aren't always going to be like friendly or even our friends. But that doesn't mean they have to be, that doesn't mean we have to be antagonistic to them. We don't have to challenge them for everything. I want them to be better, but that doesn't mean I want to like spit on them and kick them while they're down and trying to get up. They're high right now. They're doing well. They're doing great. We need to, be able to agree with that rhetoric and push them forward. And honestly, if we start pushing forward and being more, I guess, critical to the games, but not in a negative way, so that way they can actually be able to dissect what we're saying in a good and positive manner, in a healthy manner for the company and Sonic Team to grow with what we're saying, instead of criticizing them for everything, then I think the company will do great. And I think the Sonic games will continue to be better.
It's not necessarily what you do bring up a good point, but that's not necessarily what I meant. No, what I mean is that whenever it comes to people like reviewing fan games and stuff, I noticed that like a lot of the time people will just say, "Oh, it is peak," just simply because of the fact that it's a fan game. Mm-hmm. But like, we do kind of need to be a bit more. We do kind of need to be a bit more. We do kind of need to think about this stuff more. I don't know how to put it into words, but like, we do kind of need to like give criticism where it's needed, like give praise where it's due, but like, people are doing these sorts of things to learn how to get into game development, and if everybody's just keep saying like peak fiction, this is an absolute masterpiece, it's peak, that's not really going to tell them much. They're not really going to learn anything from it.
Agreed.
And this is unfortunately a really big problem for classic Sonic fan games. This is going to be a bit of a hot take for a lot of people, and but like, Sonic and the Fallen Star was kind of mid, in my opinion. But a lot of people praised that game like it was the second coming of Christ.
Would you mind, because I've never actually played it, would you mind clarifying what parts of the game that you did not like? Was it the controls? Was it the locations?
The controls weren't bad, but the problem with it, and a problem with a lot of classic Sonic fan games is that it didn't really do anything new with the controls. It's literally just the Mania move set, except I guess the spin dash is buffed a bit.
So you're more so not, you don't more so don't like it because they didn't do anything new that felt good. It was just a copy and paste, in your opinion.
Partially, there's more things that I kind of have an issue with the game. The main takeaway I have with Fallen Star was that it was a lot of style over substance. Because like it had a really great art style and it had a fucking banger soundtrack, but the gameplay was kind of uninspired. The level design was kind of bland. The bosses were kind of a joke, I won't lie. I'm not even joking. One of them I beat standing completely still and just jumping every now and then. And the special stages sucked. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat that one. Like I did not have a fun time playing with those. I got through like 4 special stages and then just gave up.
Well, was it why? Why would you say that? And if you wanted to like give criticism in a way that somebody could be able to improve upon it, like what sucked about it?
So for the level design, a lot of it was just kind of hold right to win, followed by an occasional zigzag jump. So it left the level design feeling kind of repetitive, and they also some of the levels did have level gimmicks, but a couple of them were either reused from Mania, or when they were actually a unique level gimmick, they were so sparsely used that you could actually go through an entire stage without encountering it once just on a casual playthrough. And it made the stages feel like, oh, so these are just kind of the same stage, but with a different coat of paint.
I see.
Which is kind of unfortunate. And you might think from me saying all of this that I was not looking forward to Sonic and the Moon Facility, which was its canceled sequel, but that's not really the case. I was actually really excited for Moon Facility because from what I heard the team talking about, it seemed, and from what I've actually seen, especially on the special stages, it looked like they were actually going to try and improve what they had from Fallen Star. But then that game ended up getting canceled due to lack of motivation, and now we're just kind of here today.
That's okay. It's honestly, this is some very, very valid opinions. And when it comes to fan games and stuff like that, what you did in explaining what you didn't like about it helps more than a comment on Twitter saying that, hey, this sucks. Because now you explain why.
Yeah. There's a difference between giving constructive criticism and just saying, this shit is ass.
Exactly.
You should stop game development now.
So exactly. So like, for example, right? If someone said this exact same thing about Rush 3D, right? No one here would bat an eye. No one here would say anything about it because why would we want to pay attention to somebody that's just saying it sucks? We don't get anything from that, and we're just trying to move forward.
Like, if you're just saying like, oh, Rush 3D is just hot ass, you should never play this game. It's like, well, that hurts, but like
it hurts, and it hurts, and it doesn't do anything
to you.
Yeah, it hurts, and why would you want to listen?
But if somebody was like,
tells you why
the level design was kind of bad. The pacing is kind of long. A lot of the stage gimmicks are broken as all hell. That's
more constructive.
That's sort of the stuff. That's more constructive, and it's stuff like, and yeah, criticism like that is warranted, especially with stuff like broken gimmicks or the screen.
Yeah.
Like that sort of stuff. That sort of stuff is valid criticism, and like I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's an actual problem. I need to go and fix that.
And you know what? That's good because
And that's helpful. That's help. Like don't just say, oh, this is bad just for the sake of saying it's bad. But like if you can articulate why you think something is not like sitting right with you in a game, go and say it. Especially whenever it comes to fan games that are just like taking a framework that already exists and just kind of slapping some new sprites over it. I'm not even joking. One stage, there were two 2D boost style fan games that had completely different names that were made by completely different people, but I'm not even joking. Had the exact same controls, exact same gameplay, and I'm not even joking, the exact same test stage.
strange.
I don't remember what the games were, but
I get it. I guess
that moment probably opened my eyes to like, huh.
my
Sometimes people just aren't putting all that much effort into these fan games as people think they are. But
And-
then there's stuff that kind of goes under the radar that looks sort of low effort, but it's actually just really solid. There was one game that I think came from Sage 2023. Yeah, it was Sage 2023. Let me go to the folder where I had it real quick. It was
right.
Oh, wait, no, I'm wrong. It's Sage 2021. Oh. Oh, so this is way older than I thought. But it was a game called Sonic Snow Day. The lighting of the stage was kind of bad. The animations were really jank, but I am not joking when I say the gameplay in that fan game was the most solid gameplay I had ever felt in a fan game in a long time.
Right.
I wonder what that guy's doing right now.
Honestly, that's good.
Let me look that up real quick, actually, because like now I'm curious.
But my more of my point was that if people were to make more constructive criticism instead of just straight up saying it sucks, then it'll be good for not only the community but for the people who are looking at it. I just put that pointer out about Rush 3D because if that's how we ourselves on the team would end up looking at a comment on there, then what the hell do you think Sonic Team and Sega are doing? Saying something just straight up sucks, yes, it's bad PR, but what is that going to do for anyone that's trying to learn? There's still humans and people that want to learn and want to, get better at whatever they're trying to do in there, and they're a company full of real people. The people who are making these games are real people in there, and yes, it's a company, and companies don't always care about your feelings, but if you want a better quality game, sometimes you just gotta explain what you actually want. Because a lot of the problems that I ever hear is that Sonic fans never actually know what they want. But if, you actually tell them, hey, I want higher quality, okay, what does that constitute? And then give them a real answer instead of something very vague and then get upset when they try to do whatever that vague thing is, then you don't really have anybody but yourself to blame on that. Yes, it's a company. Yes, they made a game that you didn't like. But if everybody is echoing the same thing without really knowing what that thing that they're asking for means, then it's just going to lead to that. This is why some companies just don't listen to fans in general. Because of the people saying this negative stuff. And it's getting it's overpowering the actual legitimate advice.
Yeah, you're completely right there. Wait, hold on. How long have we been doing? Oh wow, we've just simply been talking about this stuff for like an hour and 20 minutes straight.
Yeah, that happens a lot. In which case, since I need to actually get to the game portion, I'll ask you one Oh, hello, Rock. It's good to see you. Welcome. I'll ask you one more question before we actually get to the game part of the stream. So,
Alright.
we've been through a lot of questions already. I'll ask you this: do you believe Sonic has a good future?
Yes, I do.
Would you care to elaborate on what why you think that?
Well, kind of going off of what I said earlier, they're not afraid to experiment and take risks for these sorts of things anymore. And whenever they do find something that actually sticks, they're actually trying to improve upon it instead of just tossing the baby out with the bathwater like they did with Lost World.
Which is good. Honestly, I'm glad, and I want Sega and Sonic Team to, improve upon our boy so that way we can have more things that we, love. And honestly, I want them to not be afraid of their past. And when I say that, I'm not talking about, generations or Sonic X Shadow generations or making references and stuff like that. I mean, I want them to do what they're doing with Crossworlds. I want them to start using Extreme Gear again. I want them to go and start bringing back skins and even making successors to stuff that they've done in the past, like Riders, or even Rush and Advance and stuff like that. I want them to take the idea that they had in the past, scrub it, fix it up, and actually show what you meant to show all those years ago, with the advancements in technology and the things that you actually want to do, and not being made with sticks and gum, because you can do that now, and you have such good PR and good faith with your Sonic fans right now, that now would be a good time to do that, as long as you be confident and run with it and run with it strong, just like you did with Sonic X Shadow Generations. So I have a good feeling that they're gonna have a good future too. But with that said, thank you for joining me for this talk show. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, man.
Sweet. In which case, I'm going to actually start up Sonic Riders Regravitified, and then show you in a moment. But with that said, does anyone have any questions for Jason here at all before I move on? Just gotta ask chat, of course, because it's important that they get onto this stuff too.
I am willing to take any question.
Oh, Boktai. Well, they said that's not a question, but they said hi.
Hi, Bucktie Ranger.
Okay, in which case, all right. I'm going to actually move over to. Oh wait, no, we actually do got a question.
My question: what do you think about the future revamps of Sonic games? Future revamps. So I'm assuming this is stuff like remasters, maybe even remakes.
Right.
Cautiously optimistic is probably the best way that I would put it. Because even though I feel like the Gens Remastered was very solid, it's still the feeling of having this one thing now becoming more accessible, but they might add new things to it or change some things, that sort of thing is scary, because now we have Sonic Unleashed recompiled and native on PC and stuff, but let's say they end up making that let's say they end up making that fabled Sonic Unleashed remaster for all current platforms, and we actually do get an official PC port of Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah.
But what would they end up changing? What would they end up breaking? Because there is something that would inevitably get lost in translation and end up breaking. Because that's just the nature of these sorts of things. Unless they are just unless they're just making sure that absolutely nothing goes wrong with it, which I'm hoping they do, then is...
Sonic Unleashed is a very, very interesting situation, because if they end up remastering the game, then perfect. But now you have to compete with a recompilation that honestly has done everything that people have wanted the company to do. So you not only have to exceed a recompilation that gives an amazing amount of options to everyone, but now on top of that, you have to worry about making new content. Because why would I want a game that I already have that's lesser than a recompilation? Why would I want something that's less? So now you have to... The best way that I put it when I talked about it on Twitter was the best scenario for this is that they pull a Sonic X Shadow Generation situation with Unleashed. Add another story, another character, something of the same caliber and quality with that game as a separate thing, and then you'll be fine. Now, not only do people have more options on console to play this game, but you now have another story and a reason for people to want to play that game over the recompilation.
And then the extra character ends up being Shadow, because genuinely, where the hell was he during all of this?
Honestly, yeah, it could be Shadow. It could be Silver, because why would you stay home when a planet altering thing is happening? It could be Knuckles, because I'm pretty sure that's what the game was supposed to be about in the beginning, but they scrapped it for whatever reason, and that's why Werehog is here. It could be...
Wait, really?
Yeah, that's what I've heard, that the whole combat system was supposed to be based around Knuckles.
I am going to fact check that.
Yeah, please do. Quick. But I've heard that from multiple people. But either way, I could be speaking out of my ass, but that's what I've heard from other people. But either way, my point is, this is great, and I'm glad that this is a thing. I don't want Sega and Sonic Team to be discouraged by this great thing that the fans have done. I want them to challenge it. I know it's scary to try to want to do something beyond this level of caliber, but this was your game. This was something that you've created. You can do better than this. So, just do it. I genuinely believe in you. Just keep making these games until you have the money and the manpower to do this, and then go. Because I believe in them. I believe in Sonic Team, and I believe that they can make something amazing.
Okay, so I did some fact checking. Yeah, from what I can gather, it was decided fairly early on that Sonic was the only playable character.
Could be interesting. Don't know where I heard that information then. But even then, my point still stands that anybody could have been, whatever story that they could decide to do with it would be awesome. Also from Boktai. Also, Jason, will we see an Amy Rose game, like a Sonic game solely focusing on Amy Rose? That would be an interesting decision.
Okay. They're probably asking that given the ending of Frontiers. They're probably setting up for like a spin-off game relating to those characters. So I don't blame them for asking if that may be the case. Now, I don't know why you're asking me like I'm some sort of insider. Well, I'm flattered that you think that I am, but like I know nothing about what's going on in there.
I will at least say this, right? There's potential. I mean, if you look back at Sonic Adventure, you look back at Sonic Frontiers, you look back at any game that had Amy in it as a side character. Hell, you even look at Superstars. Anything that has Amy in it, she has a kit that they can use if they wanted to do that. It will be a very interesting decision, because the last game that I can remotely see was doing something like your idea was that Peach game that Nintendo made, but nobody really says anything about it.
They could 100% do it. Will it be any fun? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Also, unrelated, but like while I was trying to fact check you, I ended up stumbling into concept art for the werehog. Look at this thing.
Uh-huh. Hold on, 1 second.
It's in VC text.
Okay, let me see. Oh wow, that's hilarious actually. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't go with that, but that's kind of funny. But
yeah.
But with that said, yes, I think I'll go over to my game now. I'm going to like play through it. We talk some more about random stuff, and then after I'm done, we can hit Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed.
All right, I will be right back because I gotta go grab something.
No problem. I'll take care of that.
It'll be very quick.
No problem. All right, everybody. I hope you're all ready, dog. So let's head on over. Right, let me go ahead and get the game up and running. Sweet. Alright, so, the idea is this is Regravitified. I'm just gonna have a nice chill time and, you know, go through the story, just like how it was in the beginning. And honestly, I will say, the era that they made Regravitified, they made Unleashed, they made all these type of games with the CG openings, fantastic, and I hope that they bring them back. Obviously, we have stuff like TSR's openings and the racing's transformed and stuff, but like, I want this level back. I want the conflict to be out in the open.
Security company are no longer responding to commands and are running amok all over the world. The International Security Organization, GUN, has begun to investigate the event. Mediotech has not yet issued a formal
Is this the meteor that fell last night?
Yeah. The sound of the impact woke me from my sleep, and I found
I
it outside.
am back.
No problemo.
All right, let me
Be at Megalo Station
tune into
shortly.
this so I can see what you're doing.
Now, Sonic Forces did have the right idea. It needed to be cooked a little more. When it comes to some Sonic games like that, my best opinion is that, like, great idea, terrible execution. And it's a very sad thing, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay because, again, I'm just glad that they still have the potential to have great ideas like that. So eventually when they hit it right, they hit it right. And that's something that I can always give the Sonic team and Sega. That even in their like worst games or anything like that, they have great ideas.
You know, I just realized those look like some of those that tube corridor looked like some of the rooms in Eggman Land.
You know what? I can see it.
What's going on?
By the way, I know it's just a small thing, but I love Sonic shoes in this game.
Honestly, I love how stylized the proportions are in the writer schemes.
Likewise, it's such a... They didn't really even change anything really about the character themselves, except for small stuff while remaining the same, and I love that. I love that in these games.
Big head, big shoes. What?
Yeah?
I have to assume that's part of the mod, right? Because
Yeah.
I was not expecting to hear Rooftop.
Yep.
When did Zero Gravity come out again?
I actually don't know. I'm tempted to say 2011, but I don't know actually. Hello, Frost. It's good to see you. Welcome. I hope you're having a fantastic day, buddy.
2011 is impossible because that implies that it came out
Either
after free riders.
Oh yeah, okay. Maybe 2008.
One moment.
Yeah, like I genuinely don't know.
Sonic Riders Zero Gravity.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like something farther, like 2006.
2008, January 8th.
All right. Well, there's our answer.
Okay, so it did come out before Unleashed.
Yeah, that's right. The reason I didn't like Sonic Riders Zero Gravity was due to the simplicity of the trick system and the wonky controls of the gravity mechanic. Honestly, I thought the gravity mechanic was a fantastic addition, but if they really just kept the controls of the original Riders games, and I genuinely think this would have been this would have succeeded the Riders games, or rather the first one. But I didn't like the simplicity of it, and a lot of things that they changed just wasn't good. However, Regravitified fixes a lot of that stuff minus the trick system. But this is kind of why I'm excited about the Cross Worlds, because after playing it, even though it didn't have the extreme gear in the demo, I think it had a great idea. I think it had a great idea, and like, okay, no, it wasn't. It wasn't that it had a great idea. No, it was good. It was good. The game was very, very, very good, and I genuinely like loved it. And I'm still going through like withdrawals, waiting for like either the game to come out or another beta. But like, I pray that something happens very soon, because I'm very excited for it.
Sweet.
Then there's another test where you exclusively play the extreme gear.
Yeah, I would be okay with that. If I just listen, a test where everybody's just using extreme gear would be nuts. I would love that to hell and back. I wish that they would have like, what would you call it? I wish that they would have like multiple different extreme gear, like not just the board, because all we saw was the board. But if they have like the shoes and maybe something from Zero Gravity, I'd be so happy. Hell, I'll even take a bike. I'll take like the dream is regular boards, shoes, and a bike. That would be great. I would love that.
They don't give a guy a break, huh?
We can't just stand around here.
Right. Whoa!
Guess who?
Amy, what are you doing here?
I want to see how they handle the airboards. Me too.
Drawn together.
They don't. We don't have a date for when the game's gonna come out, but
I was running
we are.
scared.
It is gonna come out this year for sure. Because I think they said so.
What's that? The cause of
I
all
think.
my
I could be wrong, but I think they said it was coming out this year.
robots came after me. So that's
If they end up doing it like at the later end of the year, I would be kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie, but I'll take it.
Solving this mystery is Mediotech.
Hey, Sonic, we got company.
Okay, here we go.
Interesting transition there.
Yeah, it was the
No
Wii.
run up, no build up to them getting on the board or anything. Just snap to them on the board.
Well, you know what? Still made for a cool shot. They need to make sure their characters have their own weight, class style, so it balances out accelerated boosts. Well, I will say that they said that everyone on the gear and everything was going to be gonna have their own different like style for gameplay, so could definitely happen. Would be interesting. Oops. But I will say, can't wait. Still cannot wait for this darn game to come out. It's gonna be freaking awesome. And the only thing, okay, there's only one thing that saddened me so far, and that was the music was all right.
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot about that. I didn't even play the demo. Because I couldn't.
Yeah, it was on
I don't,
PlayStation.
I don't have a $500 paper. I mean PS5.
Not even wrong. Trying to remember how to.
Well,
there
like,
we go.
The music sounds. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to do like the Scarlet and Violet thing with the choir in the background, but it makes the music sound really muffled for some reason.
Well, that's not even the issue with me, right? The music is okay. It's good. Hell, there's even some tracks in there that I really like. Like the Sonic Heroes track. That was wonderful. That was great. It's just... That's the problem. It's just alright. There's nothing that's like, ooh, I gotta listen to this over and over and over again. No, it's just okay. I'm hoping that we find some fantastic, really good tracks in there. Like later on. But right now, it's just kind of alright. I want to see when Sonic Rumble comes out. Me too, buddy. Me too. I've been dying for that game to come out. It should... Okay, my dream...
What's Rumble like, actually?
Rumble? Oh, it's just like Sonic Fall Guys. But it looks really fun, and that's my problem. Because it looks really fun, and people have been dying for it to come out. I've wishlisted already, but, like, there's nothing right now. But they did say that it was going to come out very, very soon. Like, in the spring. Now, my dream, chat, is that, the game were to come out, like, around the 20th of this month. If not, next month. But praying it does. Praying it comes out as soon as possible. Because right now, the campaigns that they're doing are really only affecting the people that can play, which is good for them, but, like, people, I guarantee people are starting to forget the game is going to come out anyways. But it's... I'm hoping for the best, because I really want to play that game. I saw a friend of mine play the game, like, constantly, and they looked like they were having a blast. But on the topic of things that I want to see come out, I want to see the next... Ooh. Excuse me. I want to see the next... Sonic Riders like DX update, because the DX team, as far as I remember, hello Spicy Toast, it's wonderful to see you again. Welcome, buddy.
Ooh.
I want to see the I believe they're working on like making custom stages now.
Oh yeah, I was hearing something about that from the tournament edition team as well.
Really, really want to see how that goes. Boktais asked me, Sparks, this is a bit off topic. How did you and GK meet? Oh, it's like what? I guess what would be considered like 2 years ago now. I was meeting some people, and I was more so. How do I explain this? I was in a bit of a slump, so I wasn't streaming or anything at a time. And I was just kind of going around to different places and meeting people. I met her during a tournament for a Dragon Ball game, and then during there, we kind of just messaged each other, met each other. It was really good, really nice. But it was during a friend of mine, Rock, who really like introduced me to her in a sense of like we finally met in a VC, and that's when she more so reintroduced me to Sonic stuff and got me excited to actually work on it. So I went there and helped her out with one of the events that she was holding at the time for streaming, and we got to get closer and become like best friends from doing that. So that's how we met. It was a great time. And now she's my boss. Yeah. Well, yeah, it is sweet. Speaking of which, if you do ! Co-host, you can actually go follow her on Twitch, and she's streaming at the moment and playing Sonic Unleashed Recomp. So if you want to go give her a visit and say hi for me, that would be great. Also, this cutscene right here made me freaking fall in love with these three idiots. Thank you, Frost. The only cutscene where you
Jet?
freaking had Aura, freaking like that. I can't join her stream. Is something wrong?
Anytime, Babylon Rose.
Cut it out, Storm. All right, Kirby. Hand over the Ark of the Cosmos.
What are you talking about?
By the way, I love this song. This is a fantastic song.
Not after swiping the Ark of the Cosmos right out of our hands. Hey, hold up a minute.
I love it too.
Hey, guys, you rushed them, Jet. Rush?
Sonic?
Yo, what?
Fastest thing in the universe. And today, I'm gonna
The
crush
fastest thing in the universe is such an extreme. I'll go ahead and like ask about that. Could have been a mistake or something.
Can't stay
But I understand. Don't worry.
We'll have to do the reunion later. See ya, Jet.
Forget he says the title of fastest thing in the universe is insane. Cause as far as I remember, I'm pretty sure the Babylon Rogues are freaking aliens, if I remember correctly. Well,
If I recall correctly, they're descendants of aliens.
true, yes. But that's nuts. That's such a nuts title though. I love Zero Gravity because it has this nice future aesthetic, and I love the future themes.
It's not quite cyberpunk, but
It's almost
kind
there.
of close.
It's almost the future. But there was a lot of interesting and cool ideas in this game when it came down to how they treated characters and stuff. And the music actually went hard and it was memorable. Don't get me wrong, I'm not listening to like every single track like in my spare time, but like Regravitified, the mixes of people who made the song, the Crush 40 remix. Oh my goodness, it was all good.
Yo, is your internet good?
Is something wrong on Discord?
It was like,
Is something wrong?
well, your bit rate is dying.
What are you looking at?
Your
Am I
bit rate
showing-
is dying.
Is it? Are you
and
looking
your
at my
stream? Your actual stream is buffering now.
Oh no. I was about to ask if you saw my freaking OBS. Wish I can.
I have both open.
Oh, don't just give it a moment. It'll smooth itself back out. I recently got a new internet thing to try to fix my wonky internet because freaking. But it'll buffer it and do some stuff for a minute, but then it'll smooth back out. So please just bear with me for a moment. What was I talking about a minute ago? Yeah?
I will.
Thank you. Same to everyone watching at the moment. Messing up real bad. This happened yesterday. It'll probably be like that for like a minute or two. Yeah?
I think you were talking about the music
Right.
before
I was more so saying that
the thing happened.
yeah, the music for these for this game is really interesting, and I like the take that they went with it. More so because there's a lot of cool things about it. It's a lot of like love that went into trying to make this aesthetic and stuff work. And honestly, very cool with it. Very happy. I love it so much in Zero Gravity's main menu. Oh yeah.
It's also just like a new. It's a new style entirely. I knew.
Yeah.